So in theory, the job is now complete. So now, let's see if this thing still starts. GoPro at the ready. Let's do a live startup. And this is the first time that I've actually started the car since the start of this project, the CCV replacement. We're going to experience together if I did something wrong. Shaq from the future here. We did make a small mistake with the dipstick and we had to undo some of our reinstallation. More on that coming up. The O-ring is not seated properly, it's sitting proud. You can't see the O-ring anymore, and that's how we know that it's now properly seated. So, we're in neutral. Let's see what happens. It's rather rough. Let's give it a minute to see if it clears up, because if it doesn't, clearly something is not right. There's quite a wobble, but now it seems to be much smoother. Let's let it run for a while. We should probably take a look and see if we have any leaks. No unusual exhaust fumes at least. No obvious leaks. Seems to be running a bit smoother now. So let's let it come up to temperature. We'll check the oil level and then do another restart and see if that rumble's still there. But so far, everything looks good. Running much smoother. We'll check the oil level and then let it cool down. So let's let it cool down for a minute. We'll recheck the oil level and then we'll let it go cold, and we'll try and start it again on cold start and see if we still have that rough idle. Okay, semi-cold start test. We've topped up the oil. It's not completely cold, but we're about an hour and a half later, so let's see how it starts. Absolutely perfect. This is the incorrect installation of the O-ring on the dipstick. Is not seated properly. It's sitting proud, so we have to take the dipstick out, push the O-ring down the pipe a little bit so that whenever I compress the dipstick into the sump, the O-ring is no longer proud. Now you can see the hole in the mounting bracket doesn't properly line up, and that's because the O-ring is not seated properly, and that's another sign that you know the O-ring is not in the proper location. So what I did was I pulled the O-ring down slightly, the shoulder on the dipstick tube, and that should hopefully allow it to seat properly. So maybe you can just twist the tube a little bit.
Maybe I should pull it out.
Not pull it, because then it,
You want
yeah, just to see that the O-ring is no longer visible. It's actually inside the sump now, so that's it properly sealed. But to be honest, I couldn't have done it without you, because I had lost my patience. So thank you for your help, Rob.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Let's take it out and put it again. No?
No, after an hour of fighting with it, I don't want to do it again, so.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Success.
Success.
With the dipstick tube now properly seated, the mounting bracket for the dipstick tube now lines up much better with the hole in the engine mount, and before that was sitting too high because the O-ring wasn't seated properly. So that's definitely another good sign that the O-ring is properly seated now. So let's put everything back together. The bolt screws much more easily into place. So back again with a little bit of a retro installation. So the shoulder is now pressed below the boss, below that part of the sump where the dipstick tube is inserted. You can't see the O-ring anymore, and that's how we know that it's now properly seated, which looks much better installed than it did before. Can't see the O-ring. So let's get the DISA flap and airbox back on. And I think the problem that we saw with the first cold start, the little bit of misfiring, as you want to call it, or a little bit of rocking of the engine, I think it might have been down to a vacuum leak. Because the O-ring wasn't seated properly, might have caused a vacuum leak into the CCV system and caused that rocking. So once we get everything reinstalled, we'll prove with another cold start. So we're all back together again. And now we're going for the second cold start. So this time with the properly seated O-ring on the oil dipstick tube. So let's grab the keys and see how she starts this time. Simultaneous filming. Now, let's see how she starts this time. Wow. That's definitely much better than last time. It's already smoothed out. So let's go and see if we have any leaks. It's already starting to settle. Wow. Definitely can't hear any vacuum leaks. Let's see if we can see underneath the car. replace leakage.
Success.
Temperature gauge is already starting to move. 4 minutes in. Let's see how the revs. Wow. Good throttle response. No hesitation at all. So let's let it run up to temperature, and then we'll check the revs a little bit with a little bit higher revolutions. So I think we'll call that finally a job done now, and we'll do another cold start test in the morning. But I think it's time to celebrate. M539 restoration style. Stratton, I agree with you, Knoppers are amazing. Let's have a celebration. The job is now done. I hope this is not premature. We'll check the cold start again in the morning. But here's the 50s kit. Let's go to the next job and celebrate in style. These are really good. Mint. It's an early good after, Morgan. This time we're changing things up. We're going to film the engine with the iPhone, and we're going to film my reaction with the GoPro. But we're going for a proper cold start this time, after properly sealing the dipstick O-ring. And now, let's do a proper cold start. Another time check. So let's see how the engine reacts. This time we have a nice smooth idle, and I would say that's the CCV system now properly sealed. So I think we have success now. CCV system renewed, all the vacuum leaks seem to be solved now, idle's very smooth, and that was a proper cold start, and the idle has already started to settle. And it looks like we now have fully functioning E46. Now it's time to go and drive this thing and stop working on it. Sweet! Well, that's a wrap on the CCV episode. Thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for the next while you're in their job, and I'll explain that in the next episode. BMWs are never finished, but I still love them.